Hi, Adrenalheads. This is Lara.
And I'm Billy with an IE.
And today we're here with a quick wrap up of the Mayfair Witches Season 2, plus some Immortal Universe updates and our reactions to some of the San Diego Comicon announcements. Hey, Billy, how's it going?
Hey, Laura, it's going good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm here. Luckily, my electricity is back on again, so we were able to record tonight and just chilling at the end of summer. How was your summer?
A lot has happened. I fell in love and then I decided to go do a domestic thing with this person, and so I moved.
Excellent.
I wanted to ask you really quick. I don't know if you follow Christopher Rice on Facebook, but he does a lot of stuff on his mom's page. Are you going to the Celebration of Life in New Orleans?
I am not. It sounds like a blast. I would love to go, but I've done a lot of traveling this summer, so yeah, I've kind of reached my traveling budget and bandwidth. So I'm gonna have to skip it and look at everyone's fun Instagram posts from the event. How about you?
I thought about going, but they've been flip-flopping on venues a lot recently, and I'm starting to think that it might be kind of a shit show if I end up going. And so I think I'm just gonna content myself with pictures and videos and stuff like that too. But I'm being in Texas and like right there.
Hmm.
So it's in my brain that maybe I should go, but I don't know how much fun that's gonna be.
How long's the drive from where you are in Texas to New Orleans?
I believe it's 12 hours,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Yeah. But I would
Good
fly. I
deal.
would not drive. I would
Yeah.
absolutely not fly. Or drive, I would fly. But I
Well, we
haven't
drive
checked
out to
out.
Vegas a lot, and it's usually an 11-hour drive. So it's a haul,
Yeah,
but we can get there in a day.
yeah. I well, and I haven't even looked to see what the prices of the tickets are because you have to buy a ticket to go.
Hmm.
So I would have to do that first. But yeah, I don't think that's something I'm gonna do. But I did see that you went to Oregon.
I did. It was fun. I went to visit my sister who lives in Portland, and she showed me all the fun haunts in Portland. We went to a goth bar, very Spirit Halloween themed goth bar. We went to the house and the jailhouse and the beach where they filmed scenes from Goonies because I'm a big Goonies fan. And we saw Bella's house from Twilight. So we had a great time.
I think that's so cool. It's so weird because I think most people forget that part of that movie, the Twilight movies, was filmed in other parts, other locations, and not just in Washington. I think most of it
Washington,
was filmed in Canada, wasn't it? Like
Vancouver.
Montreal or something. Vancouver. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But
great. Any other big events in life? I'm expecting a grandchild, my first.
that is so cool. How far along is your daughter?
She'll be due September 15th.
Oh my, next month.
Yep, I know. It's super soon.
How does that make you feel?
Really weird. Because I feel like in my heart, I'm still like 23, maybe 24.
Hmm.
No, I felt like as a child, I was maybe in my 30s. Now I feel like I'm in my 20s. I'm sure by the time I'm in my 60s, I'll feel like I'm like 12 or 13.
For the longest time, I felt like I was 17. It wasn't until I was turned 29 that I started to actually feel my age. I'm like, yeah, I'm 29 now because I can definitely tell I'm 29 now. And then at 31, I feel like I'm 42. So
All you need to do is find yourself a vampire and you can stay your same age for all eternity.
all eternity. Physically 31, mentally 42.
Well, speaking of
But
vampires, I guess we're talking vampires in a little bit. But first, I guess we
yeah,
should catch up on these dang witches that we
well,
kind of abandoned.
you can't talk about anything Anne Rice without mentioning the vampire. So it's vampire adjacent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep. So we are here. First of all, we're going to discuss the Mayfair Witches season 2. which we had discussed the first three episodes of with Becky and Mark
Hmm.
several months ago.
Yeah.
But now we're just going to follow up. We're going to mush together the last, what was, were they like last four, 5 or 6 episodes, and just give
Is
our general thoughts on how we thought it ended.
yeah. I think it was we watched the first four when we did the first part, and so this would be the last. So there was eight. So this would be the last. Yeah, it would be four. It'd
Okay.
be 4 episodes. So
So to that end, we're just going to give a super quick synopsis in case y'all have forgotten where we were. I watched this when it actually came out. I finished up a little bit afterwards. Billy, you saw this fairly recently, so your
yes.
memory might be more fresh than mine. But as far as what happened in the last part of season 2, after Lasher is captured by the Talamasca and Jojo and Daphne disappear into the house, Rowan and Moira attempt to contact the spirit of Uncle Julian for his help. While entrapped in Julian's spirit world, Rowan learns of his secret family clan in Scotland and learns that is where Lasher has been taken. Along with recently freed Cortland, Moira, and Lark, Rowan travels to the secluded and pagan leaning town of Kilbride in Scotland. With Cyprian and the Talamasca close behind, they soon learn that Lasher is part of an ancient species known as the Taltos and is introduced to Emeleth, a female Taltos destined to be his bride.
After a ritualistic pagan marriage of Lasher to Emeleth, Emeleth quickly begins to birth several Taltos infants, whom the Scottish Mayfair secretly plan to murder and drink their blood in order to gain their powers. However, Cortland, possessed by the spirit of Julian, Rowan and Moira fight against the Scottish clan to free the Taltos children and Emeleth. But Lasher dies in the melee, sending his powers to a now fully empowered Rowan. As the group returns to New Orleans, Rowan erases Luck's memory of her and the Mayfairs and uses her new abilities to release JoJo and Daphne from their imprisonment.
Great. So, do you want to go first? Do I we can bounce back and forth, whatever you'd like, on how you felt about this second half of the second season.
Well, here's something that we both felt, and we talked a little bit about it before we started recording, was the general vibe of the show slash season,
Mm-hmm.
which this show has not given the gothic characteristics that Interview with the Vampire has given. In fact, we discussed how it kind of reminded us of like a juvenile CW show, like
Mm-hmm.
Shadow Hunters and what is that? There's another one that's on Netflix now, or that's been on Netflix forever. Vampire Diaries. I keep getting
Yeah.
Vampire Diary vibes when I
Uh-huh.
watch the show, and it's hard to watch because I don't really like that kind of
Mm-hmm.
television,
Yeah.
And in my mind, I kind of put Anne Rice media in its own, um, well, genre, but its own tier. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think Vampire Interview with a Vampire got it right because it was not afraid of the mature elements of Anne's books. I mean, Mayfair Witches comes off to me as sort of a adaptation of a YA novel, like you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And Anne is anything but YA, you know. Her books
Anything.
are challenging, oftentimes very problematic in their content, and I feel like Interview with the Vampire is not afraid to go there, while Mayfair Witches is. So they have to
Hmm.
alter a lot of the story, and it comes off as a little bit safe and
Hmm.
not as interesting, unfortunately.
Right. I agree. And they put like a veneer over everything to make it more palatable,
Mm-hmm. To mainstream
which I'm
audiences.
right.
Like I feel
Exactly.
like Interview with the Vampire can be on like a premium channel like an HBO or you know uh Cinemax, not Cinemax, but like an HBO level
Right.
channel, Showtime or something like that, where I feel like Mayfair Witches should be reserved, at least in its current incantation, should be reserved for the CW.
Right. I agree. And I think one of the, I guess, more obvious differences that I can seem to notice is the characterization of Rowan to begin with in general.
Hmm.
Because in the book, she's a bit more tortured and haunted.
Hmm.
Like, she doesn't lean into the powers of the Mayfair in the books. She runs away from it, and she views it as dangerous and um, tainted. And but the Rowan in the show, she's all about the power. She's all about
Hmm.
getting it, and they even do like this weird blood drinking ritual in the show that
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that?
Well, it was weird because she didn't know anything about her heritage, her background as a witch. She knew she had powers that she was
Mm.
trying to understand from a scientific perspective, which is like Rowan in the book. She tries to always get down to the science of it, but this Rowan, like all of a sudden in season two, she's got all the she's leaning into it. She knows how to do all these rituals and everything. And like, where did that come from suddenly? You've been at
Right.
this household for maybe a month or so, and now you're like, you know, into all the calling of the family and doing the seance, or not the seances, but the rituals and everything. I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
Right. It's sort of like she starts acting like she's been in the family or close to the family for decades. Like she just knows
Hmm.
all the history, all the secrets. While the Rowan in the novels, she puts a heavy emphasis on the rational part of all the phenomena. And the reason why that was because the mystical and the weirdness of things were going on was supposed to be my thoughts are like going everywhere right now. I'm trying to have a coherent sentence come out of my mouth and I can't seem to do that. Um, the supernatural aspects of the novel were supposed to contradict her rational way of thinking,
Hmm.
and that would have emphasized the eeriness of all the events that were happening. But that's taken away from the show.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like they put the fact that Rowan is a doctor on the back burner. Like it was just like a quirky little characteristic, but we're more focused on the fact that she can do magic. Which,
Yeah, I always thought that was
yeah,
funny because she's supposed to be this like extremely like a um very advanced neuroscientist or yeah, neurological doctor. She's very highly respected in the books and very cold and scientific, but in the show, like I've mentioned before, she sounds like she should be managing a surf shop. She's got this very Valley Girl accent. She's kind
yeah,
of, you know, I don't know. She always sounds very like she has no confidence to me. And maybe she
yeah.
ends up trying to get a little bit more later. But yeah, I think a lot of people I think I've heard from don't really love the characterization of Rowan in this show. At least people who have
Right,
read the books. People who haven't been familiar with the source material don't seem to mind.
right, yeah. Well, and I think that's the great divide in the audience with this show is because like some of those things that happen in the novel I feel like are essential to the story. Like there's a whole scene where Rowan actually kills Emelith as a mercy killing,
Hmm.
and it's like they removed all the tragedy out of the storyline,
Hmm.
you know, and they were
Well, Emma Lith's not even her daughter in the show, so
yeah, exactly, yeah.
they've just this
Just
is how different it
in,
is.
in case you guys didn't know, Emelith is actually Rowan's sister daughter, so um, and she does a mercy killing on her because she realizes the threat that the Taltos pose to humanity. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so much that they changed, and I actually had troubles watching the last few episodes. When I told you that I was going to watch them, I knew
Hmm.
that it was going to be a pain in my butt to do it. So I literally had to force myself to pay attention to what was going on because every time I would watch it, I was just like, "This is not a show I would watch,"
Hmm.
you know. And I
Yeah,
wonder
I
if,
it's understandable.
yeah, and I
That's why I
wonder if
think it took
Vampire
us so long to get
Diaries,
around and back to it.
yeah, and it's hard not to talk about the show and not say something negative, you know.
Hmm.
And I don't want to be mean to the producers and the show writers because they clearly I think I watched an interview where one of them said that it was done on purpose that they changed all this stuff,
Hmm.
and I was just like, HBO wouldn't have changed all this stuff. They
No,
would have changed all
and
this stuff.
I mean, when I heard it was going to be a show, like I've said before, I couldn't believe that they were going to try and put it on TV because there's so much taboo stuff in the book that would never make it to a regular television program. So I understand why they had to change some things. I enjoyed those books so much. I would really wish they had cleaved closer to the source material. And I also was thinking when you're talking about Rowan being a doctor, in my opinion, like Rowan, she is a witch and she's in Anne's Witches series, but to me, out of all the Mayfairs, she seems the most like similar to Frankenstein, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because in it she is such a cold character. And I mean, she does have some likable characteristics, but she is a very cold and practical minded kind of scientist. And the one thing that is her downfall is that she wants to be godlike. She wants to give life. So she wants to see if she can give life to this creature that's trying to be reborn into the earth. So I always thought that that was an interesting parallel that she was kind of, as you read the novel, she's so much like a Frankenstein,
Yeah.
Victor Frankenstein kind of character, not Frankenstein's monster. But yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, I wish that had translated more into her character.
And like I said, that was her characterization was done on purpose because the eeriness of the supernatural phenomena had to be um, contrasted with someone who is really, really rational and scientific, and but and I think Anne had a fascination with trying to um, rationalize the supernatural. She acknowledged that it existed, but she's like, there has to be something measurable about them that all
Hmm.
people could have an objective experience with. Like I'm sure you've heard the term a Christian apologist.
Hmm. I think so.
She, yeah, I think she kind of had that kind of mentality when it came to the supernatural. She's like, in her mind, there was something measurable about this phenomena that all people could objectively experience, and that was sort of her obsession. And you can read it when you're reading her novels.
Hmm.
She always has at least one character or one thing that happens where there's something really scientific about this really weird, eerie thing. And especially, I mean, in her later Vampire Chronicles, she definitely wanted to merge the science and the supernatural, like to an extreme level. And I was
Well, as
like,
you know, my reading is kind of bopping around. So
yeah.
I actually just finished Blood Canticle
Oh
and
yeah.
probably I'm going to jump backwards and go to Tale of the Body Thief.
Mm.
But, in addition to um, Rowan's character, the character of Lasher just completely confused me because
Mm.
okay, I hate to always go to the source material, but in the source material, he is for sure he is a warped spirit, basically. He comes out and he is not a protagonist at all. He is by far a villainous antagonist. He causes the deaths of many women in his pursuit of continuing his species. But in this, they almost turn him into a victim or a protagonist. He gets
Yeah.
abducted by the Scottish Mayfairs. They try and trick him into mating with this other Taltos, which they don't explain how they have this Taltos. It's just very bizarre that he becomes sort of this victim slash, I don't know, stallion for all these Taltos babies.
Mhm.
And it's so bizarre. Like, I kind of liked that they were bringing in those pagan elements. I feel like the producers probably got inspired by a show like Midsummer, and they
I
were
was gonna
using those
say,
pagan elements.
they were definitely trying to make the Mayfairs be pre-Christian, like emphasize the pre-Christian nature of the Mayfairs. In fact, there was like a scene where they talked about I think it was like Suzanne Mayfair and how she worshipped the old gods and how
Hmm.
some of the Mayfairs secretly worshiped the old gods in the
Yeah.
family and stuff like that. They were definitely trying to do very new age, neo-pagan. They were trying to add those elements
Witchcraft,
into the
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Which I always thought was one of the more interesting things, one of the more unique things about Anne's witches is that they weren't these sort of neo-pagan witches who referred to, Celtic or pagan gods or anything like that. I don't think it was ever in any of the stories. There was some voodoo and, Haitian magical practices at one point too, but they never talked about Druid or Celtic gods or anything like that. And they really leaned into it because I just feel like that's probably what's popular when you do a witchy movie.
yeah. You're probably right. You're probably right. And I think the reason why that didn't occur in the novels, besides the fact that Anne wasn't into neo-paganism or anything like that, but she wanted to keep this novel grounded in America, in the United States,
Hmm.
because this was supposed to be an American epic, a Gothic
Yeah,
American
an
epic.
American, like a Southern Gothic. Yeah.
Right. She wanted to
And I felt that
mimic,
really a lot in the first book. Lasher
right.
does go to Scotland, but it's not a huge part of the book, not as big as they made it in the show.
No.
Yeah.
It was the burning of the ancestor that was of more interest to her, to Anne, than it was anything else about, Scottish folklore,
Hmm.
or anything like that. But she was inspired by Henry James, I believe, who wrote epics, and she was trying to write her own. And there was a poem that she read that gave her kind of some of the idea for this. Oh my gosh, novel. It is called. I did some research. Sorry, I do that. It is called. I think it's like Orlando Furioso or something like that. Hold on. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. I have a lot of notes. Um. Uh. Yeah, Orlando Furioso by Ludovico Ariosto, and it is a sequel to Orlando Anna Morato, which continues the unfinished romance of Boyard. See, I don't speak Italian. Boiardo, weaving together Christian and Saracen characteristics into a historic chivalry tapestry. The themes of Orlando are Charlemagne's paladin falls into obsessive love with the pagan princess Angelica, becomes mad, quote unquote furioso, when she prefers the Saracen knight Midoro. Astolfo journeys to the moon to retrieve Orlando's sanity in a magical quest. A central romance involved um, Bradamante, a Christian female knight, and Ruggiero, a Saracen warrior whose lineage connects to Aristo's parents, the House of Este. It's a poem that spans 46 cantos. And the reason why it was the inspiration for the Mayfair Witches is because Rice admired Orlando Furioso's blend of romance, madness, powerful family ties, and layered storytelling, a tone that resonates in her sprawling Mayfair saga. The interplay of magic, court intrigue, and lineage in Erosto's poem likely helped shape her depiction of legacy haunted by passion and power. So, the themes of love, madness, chivalry, magic, ancestry. That was what made her want to write the story and the characters the way they did.
Hmm.
Which I've read a couple of the cantos. It's a really dense read, but I can kind of see some of the influences, the way the
Hmm.
characters kind of intertwine and interact. And there's a lot of tragedy in the poem. So um, she was heavily inspired by epics. So she wanted to try to ground those themes in one locale, and I think that's probably why she was more focused on like American supernatural, American folklore, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
the introduction
Interesting.
to the neo-pagan, the Scottish folklore, is definitely a creative liberty by the
Yeah,
studio.
that is
Not to
true.
commandeer the whole part of the
No, that's awesome. Unfortunately, far too deep for television watching,
yeah,
most likely.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I just found it funny that Lasher like almost becomes like um hero who sacrifices himself at the end. I'm like, really?
And
This is
he
the
dies
character that you
twice.
despised in
Right.
his own book.
Right. And
But
he dies twice. Like he dies
yeah,
one time, she brings him back to life, and then he dies again. Like I
twice
didn't understand that.
sacrifices himself.
Right. Why does he have to why did they have to kill him twice? I don't understand that. Like what was the point of that?
And the whole mating of him and Emilith, I just found hilarious. I mean, I liked the look of it. I really
Hmm.
liked the stylization of those episodes in Scotland. And I just love Scotland in general. So
Oh
I
yeah.
love anything that is filmed or shows the beauty of Scotland. That I liked how she shows up on a like one of those Highland cows, it
Hmm.
draped in a veil and everything. Like the imagery was very cool. I enjoyed that. I just thought it was funny when she had her handmaiden bringing him a whole like bucket of milk and he's chugging the milk, and it's just funny that they really never explain the, you know, significance of the milk. He just really likes milk for some reason. They never explain that it's the Taltos mothers who have this almost magical power in their milk to make their babies grow so quick and strong. And
Hmm.
then they have the wedding. They're all tied up in harnesses and they're like wanting to like go at each other like a couple of dogs in heat. And
They're so
they
hot for each other.
release them and they run at each other and the like curtain goes down.
So they can do the deed right then and there.
I don't know. It cracked me up. I was laughing and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be laughing.
I love the aesthetics though, like the whole
Hmm.
like regardless of the fact that it deviates obviously from the source material, I love the whole pagan themes. I like the aesthetics of it and how it made everything a bit more mystical, you know.
Yeah, I liked it. I agree. I liked the aesthetics. I loved Rowan's bridal gown that like
Mhm.
showed off her buxom figure and everything. That was great. I'm like, look, I'm the mother of the groom in my low cut, tight fitting dress.
So,
I
one of the things that also kind of got my attention was the fate of the Taltos babies
mhm.
and how the
Let's hear it.
Talamasca snatches them up and decides to keep them, or safe keep them.
Hmm.
This relationship the Talamasca has with all the characters is kind of bothersome to me.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. I didn't write it in my notes, but I do want to talk about the Talamasca.
I did write in the later portion of the episode when we do talk about the show that they're making about what it seemed like to me, but I guess I'll just do it now because I'm kind of like chomping at the bit to talk about how they've characterized this,
Hmm.
group. So in the novels, obviously, the Talamasca are supposed to be scholars who study and document the supernatural. And I kind of describe them all as basically Indiana Joneses. Like they're just like archaeologists who do this extracurricular thing. But I mean, obviously, they're part of the organization whose sole focus is to do that. But that's what they all are basically. They're all scholars and archaeologists and professors and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Well, the show has them basically being a cult NCIS, you
Hmm.
know, and they're not just psychics, but some of them are actual magic practitioners or
Yeah.
witches or sorcerers or however you want to describe them. So it feels more like they're sort of like a supernatural enforcement agency
Hmm.
and not really a scholarly order. And that really bothers me because what they do with the Taltos babies is they snatch them up for safekeeping, like child protective services,
Well,
And in the
those babies were
novels,
going to be sacrificed in their blood drink, so it was a good thing to get them out of there.
yeah, but I just don't like that they continuously scrub the tragedy out of the story.
I know, I know.
They're
We have to
supposed to
pretend
be.
that we just are completely ignorant to the source material on this show.
I guess. I don't know.
We'll
I
always
think,
have the show, which is a good. I
yeah,
mean, the books. Sorry, we'll
yeah.
always have the books.
But I think that's what I liked about the book Talamasca is how sort of even Anne kept them kind of ambiguous. Like you knew of their mother houses, you knew of some key members, but it seems that every member that we get to know about of the Talamasca end up joining the Undead or Die. But I think that was on purpose
Hmm.
because it's the very nature of the Talamasca, which, and then later on we learn of their actual origins and who started the Talamasca and stuff like that. But
Hey, I kind
um,
of know about it, but don't say anything. I haven't
I
gotten
won't
to
say
that
any,
book yet.
I won't say anything else then. But largely though, for the most part, you don't actually know about the inner workings of the Talamasca as like a clock. If it were a clock, you don't really know what each gear does. You don't know how it makes it function. You just know that it exists. You are aware of some of its parts, but anything you do get close to ends up being absorbed into the other factions in the story.
Hmm.
So I liked that though. I liked that general mystery about it. But I don't know. I guess I'm
I
just such a
my issue with the Talamasca in here is that yes, there are some psychics in the Talamasca, but I feel like as they wanted to make the show more and more sensational with every episode, they just kept giving them more and more powers. And by the end, they're like creating teleportation portals. I'm like, what? This isn't the X-Men, That's, I mean, they kind of did the same with the witches, The witches
yeah.
have some psychic powers, but all of a sudden they're like throwing thunderbolt or lightning bolts and they're like levitating and all this stuff. I'm like, this isn't the X-Men. Stop it. Even though I love the X-Men and I'm a big comic book fan, I'm like, please, just like I don't like shows about magic where they start having like unfettered magic and they can basically do anything to fit the plot.
Right. I agree. I agree. It just feels like lazy writing because like
Mm-hmm.
instead of creating a clever solution, it's like we'll just have them do a spell.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always everything is explained by magic. Magic. They can do this because magic. Yeah, it's like if you're even, I don't do a lot of writing, but I've heard if you're a writer of fantasy, you have to create rules for your fantasy world and you can't just start plopping in new new abilities and new things just because you can't figure your way out of a plot hole.
Right. And irony is supposed to be a literary device, and anyone who does write understands that there has to be loads of irony throughout the whole of the story, and there's not a lot of irony in this show. Everything is just easily, you can put a bow around it, and it's done, and then it's completed, and it's
Hmm.
no
Yes.
irony, no literary device. It's frustrating.
Well, one thing that I did find done well in this season was Ted Levine as Julian Mayfair because I was very very skeptical about
Yeah.
the guy who portrayed Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs portraying Uncle Julian, and
Mhm.
even though they got his characterization completely wrong from the source material, I mean there's elements in there, but he's usually in the books more of a protagonist because he's trying to help his family and trying to keep them from Lasher and trying to find ways to like um inform his family from the beyond and everything. But I
Right.
did like Ted Levine's characterization. I actually
I
thought
did
he was
too.
one of the stronger performers on the show.
I agree. I agree. I can't disagree. Like, for example, Cortland is actually more minor and sleazy in the novels, and it's
Mhm.
Julian who takes more of the forefront of that little interaction. And he's like this powerful warlock from an earlier generation. He's cunning, elegant, and deeply creepy. But the two are not the same person and operate on very different timelines. But in the show, they merged them, and Cortland reveals he is also Julian, although that was done through some weird do with Cortland's brother
Yeah.
and his nephew, which I don't recall because I'm not a Mayfair book expert. You are, but um, there's no Scottish Mayfair brother in the.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's
There
what I thought.
are yeah, Julian has a second family, but they're not in Scotland.
Right,
Yeah, the whole Scottish thing in the books is minor. They just go there to kind of research the background of the Mayfairs, and there's a little bit involved with the creation and downfall of Lasher in his mortal life. But that's all
Hmm.
they find out in Scotland. They don't find out some secret clan of Julian's, bastard children in Scotland. But yeah, I did like his performance. I would hope and wish he would come back, even though I don't even know if I'll watch the next season. But right now he's kind of possessed and embodied himself into Cortland. So Cortland basically is Julian, and Cortland is no more.
Yeah,
But
they
that
wanted
means,
to.
yeah, that actor will be playing Julian and not
Yeah,
Ted Levine.
right.
Talked about that. I think the only other couple of
Wow,
things I had
nice.
is, can you hear me? Oh, you're kind of cutting a
Yes, I
little bit.
can.
Okay. Did you want to bring something
Can
up
you hear me
before I
now?
talk about? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I think we both want to talk about the same thing, so I'll let you go.
Mine was just Rowan's relationships, like with Lark and with Cyprian. So they cut out a major character in the book that I think a lot of book readers are upset about, and that's Michael Curry, who, was basically genetically created for Rowan and plays a very important part in the books. And then they kind of like first tried to make Cyprian that character by giving him some of Michael's psychic abilities, and then they tried to kind of make Lark that person by making him Rowan's love interest. And Lark in the books is just a medical colleague of hers. He really doesn't play a big part in the books at all, except for her to do some of her scientific research through him. But I don't even understand why they put either of them in as a romantic interest, because neither of them stick around and neither of them really have any kind of impact except for Cyprian impregnating her with Lasher. Like they really had no significance in the story whatsoever.
No, and there's not a whole lot of character chemistry between them either. It just kind of feels like it was just sort of like a, oh, you're here, I'm here, let's, be interested in each other type of thing. And it was just kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I had the same feelings as you saw in my notes. I put the quote unquote Michael Curry character Lark. And I was just because I noticed that towards the end of the season, I was like, oh, he's supposed to be Michael Curry in this part of the story. Oh no.
Hmm.
And Cyprian was basically off doing his own thing. It was sort of like that affair he had with Rowan was
Meant
nothing.
nothing.
Like it was not,
Even though
yeah,
Moira says that he's in love with her, but it's like now it just seems like he's not interested, or he's just
right.
more like he's just more involved with the Talamasca, and maybe we'll communicate with her through that. I don't know. I thought it was weird, and they just seemed like very random characters to take the place of a very important character that they just decided to get rid of.
Right. And the sort of the web of things that Cyprian's involved in, he has to go to Amsterdam because he's going to be put on trial by the mother house there for what happened in New Orleans. And then I think it's like one of the main higher ups of the Amsterdam mother house touches him, and she goes, "Okay, I know everything I need to know. You're fine."
Hmm.
And he's kind of like, "What?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You're fine. We're moving on from that part of the story now." And she's
Hmm.
like, "What do you want?" And he goes, "I want to run the New Orleans mother house." And she goes, "Okay, I'll go talk to some people about that." And I was just kind of like, "Why are you doing this?"
She like walking around the corner and just talking to herself. Okay, we got this guy. He seems like an okay dude. Should he? Oh yeah, okay. And then she just comes back and says, "Done."
Yep, you can run it. Now, can you help us with this thing over here?
That whole thing didn't seem fleshed out, and I think they just used it as a setup for Talamasca.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree. And then I think that kind of remember when we talked about in the previous episode where it seemed like Mayfair was sort of like the afterthought series?
Which one?
Mayfair, the witches,
I don't
the
know. Are you
show.
talking about? Oh, yeah. So that they could get Interview with the Vampire and the rights to that, and they
Right.
just kind of did this as like the side label.
Yeah, it's like the fluff. It's like the fluff, so that way they can
Hmm.
add more depth to Interview with the Vampire later on, which
Hmm.
because as people who've read the books know that they will intersect at one point, but it just kind of feels like they don't really care about this show all that much. But see, and what kind of frustrates me is that Interview with the Vampire and Mayfair Witches are supposed to exist in the same universe, but when you watch the shows, it seems like they don't have the same physics.
Mm-mm. No, no. Like it's funny because it's a little hard for me to describe, but Interview with the Vampire, it takes itself more seriously, but it also has fun with its material. Like I feel there are
Hmm.
plenty of times where the show almost like is a little self-deprecating and kind of makes fun of itself, but in a very tongue-in-cheek way, but then it gets real serious too. And I think that is
Season
so.
two.
Yes, it's just like the whole camp of the vampire theater, the Théâtre des Vampires, is just
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. But it
Mm-hmm.
it also takes the whole thing seriously. You see that trial between the vampires and Louis, Claudia, and Madeline, and it takes itself in extremely seriously. But then all the rest of like a lot of the times when they're doing the performances and San Diego for like most of the season is very like tongue in cheek and naughty and funny and
Mm-hmm.
self-reverent and everything. And it's just really, I don't know. I think that balance really makes it such a good show. It's like serious writing with some great tongue-in-cheek, sometimes not taking itself seriously, sometimes taking itself very seriously. Where this
Mm-hmm.
show wants to be a serious show, but some points are just so campy and it doesn't self-actualize, doesn't realize that it's campy. It's like trying to be serious, but it's so ridiculous. And I just that's why I just feel like they don't vibe with each other.
Well, I feel like if the showrunners had watched True Blood before making
Hmm.
this show, they could have merged the camp and the seriousness more easily, more seamlessly. Because for the most part, for up until like the later parts of this show, in my opinion, True Blood was able to be campy and serious
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that that's just one of the talents of Roland Jones is that he knows how to balance those two elements of the show really well. And I don't know if they merge at some point. I just hope they don't do it too much. Maybe they just pop in a character slightly, like how they popped in Felix into one episode of the Mayfair Witches.
If they have a long running continuous season with Mayfair, which is involved with the vampires, then I hope the person who makes the Interview with the Vampire series is the one who does all the production and everything because he can he can make it campy and serious at the same time. And I just
Hmm.
feel like he would be a better, you know.
Yes. And I've actually I don't have his name, but I believe there is a new showrunner on Mayfair Witches. So Esta Spalding, I think, is still involved, but she's going to be kind of like a co-showrunner with this new
Okay.
person who's been added to the show. So who knows?
I
It
was trying to remember her name and I was like, she has the same last name as me. She has the same last name as me. She has the, what is her name?
yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I will give it a chance, but I don't think I'll watch the whole series. If maybe I'll watch it out of morbid curiosity. I don't know.
Mhm. Or they'll say something in Interview with the Vampire, and I'll be like, and reference the show, and I'm like, well, shit, now I have to go watch the show to get the reference.
You, if anything, we are supporting Anne Rice's Immortal Universe. So
Yeah,
we're
of
we're
course.
keeping the boat afloat. The one thing that I did not like about this season was the very rushed ending. To me, it felt like they had just suddenly realized they ran out of budget or something because the whole like thing goes down in Scotland. They come back to New Orleans. All of a sudden, Rowan, for some reason, decides that, Lark doesn't need this in his life. She gives him um, Aunt Dolly's like memory erasing tea. He suddenly forgets all about her, the Mayfairs, and everything that went on in Scotland. And then They just walk back to the Mayfair house on First Street. You don't even get to see the actors. They go in, like the lights light up in the house, and suddenly Jojo and Daphne are back. It's like the whole reason they went on this escapade was to free them, and then we don't even get an on-screen appearance of them. And then Rowan steps out on the patio and looks across the street and sees Cortland, i.e., Uncle Julian, looking at her from across the street. Although it seems like she doesn't see him. I'm like, no, he's right there. He's like
Literally.
standing like a
Yeah.
stalker looking at you from across the street.
I kind of got like the, like in some like after school special type shows, they have like the saying, well, all's well that ends well. And that's the
Yep.
kind of vibe I got from her. She's all's well that ends well. And it was just like, that's that's not supposed to be the story.
We didn't get paid enough to write the ending.
Right. Honestly, though. But it's so and I don't want to, I definitely don't want to be those one of those people who just has nothing nice to say about it. But it's like,
We talked about Ted Levine
yeah, that was probably the only
and
good
the
thing.
aesthetics. The pagan aesthetics were cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Scotland was
yes.
cool.
I think it's just hard for you and I because we're actual Anne Rice fans. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like everything what we wanted it to be, everything that we had dreamed it would be. Because obviously, when you read the novels, um, you're like, okay, so if this would turn into a TV show or a movie, it would be really cool if it was done this way, or if this person was casted to play this character, or something like that. And then you don't get that. And so you're like, I'm trying very hard to be supportive of this, but you've done
Yeah.
nothing to appease to my fantasy.
Yeah. And that's the problem with fandom sometimes. It's
Yeah.
like if you've been a fan of something for 30 some years and you've been waiting and waiting for it to come out of your head onto the screen and it's disappointing, that's always a bummer, you know?
Yeah. Because like even some of the other things have merit. I mean, at first when I watched the interview with the vampire series, I was kind of critical about it because I was like, why did they change all these things? But as time went on and the show went on, you could start to see those Anne Rice characteristics in the story, and that
Mm-hmm.
was the saving grace that it had. The vibe was correct,
And I think
this.
it just if it works well as a show, like in
Yeah.
Interview with the Vampire, the writing is good, the performances are good, the production is good, everything about it is top tier, and the entire cast and production crew, in my opinion, have a huge passion for
Hmm.
this material. Whereas it feels very lukewarm on the side of the cast and crew of Mayfair Witches,
Yep.
and the I would say the writing is, in my opinion, below par, but that's
Yeah.
because I've watched a lot of premium television for a long time, so I always expect good writing, and when I see mediocre writing, it's like D level for me. Like I can't watch
Well,
this show.
as I said in the group chat, I can't read any of the books without hearing Sam Reed's voice in my head now.
Mm-hmm.
So when an actor is able to take the place of my internal made version of the character, that's how you know they've done a magnificent job. Not even
Mm-hmm.
not even Tom Cruise was able to replace my internal Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam Reed, he did. He did real easily. And now I all I hear is his French accented voice in my head when I because I'm reading The Vampire Lestat right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hear his voice now.
Excellent. Well, at least you're not hearing the voice of the narrator who did Blood Canticle. Because I put that in our group chat, right? I'm reading
I
through
think
Blood
so.
Canticle, and this narrator made Rowan sound like Roz from Monsters Inc. He's like, Lestat, what are you doing here? Like, oh my God, no.
That is hilarious. Do you know who did the narration?
I think his name's David P2.
He too.
And
Okay.
everyone else sounds fine. But when he gets
Mhm.
to Rowan, because she's supposed to have this deep whiskey voice, he just goes way too far. She seriously sounds like Roz. Like I kind of shudder every time I hear her voice in the audiobook.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I have to.
If you have Libby, it's the version that you get off of Libby.
Okay.
I'm a huge Libby user because I don't have time to read physical books anymore, but I do have lots of time during the day to hear audiobooks.
I only do audiobooks for a book that I don't have like a super emotional attachment to because I don't want what you just described to happen to me where now I can't hear this character's voice in my head without it sounding like what this person did. The only exception being Sam Reed, of course, but yeah.
I have not come across a lot of really terrible audiobooks. There's been a couple where I've had to stop the story because I can't take the narrator's voice and just find the physical book and read through it. But usually, I mean, especially nowadays, there's a lot of really very talented audio artists.
Yeah. Well, the my one would actually be the person who narrated Cersei for I think her Audible for the Audible version, which I'm trying to find. Um, hold on, hold on, hold on. Uh, Audible. Oh, it was Perdita Weeks.
Uh-huh.
I love her voice. Oh my God. She's got this brilliant British accent. Like not even like because a lot of people love British accents, but I don't know. There's something so sublime about her accent. And like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, Cersei would sound like this.
Hmm.
This is how the witch Cersei would sound if she talked. Like it completely matches the character. And I've read the book like a billion times. It's one of my favorite books. So I'll listen to the audiobook sometimes because I just like the flow of the narrative is just so comforting to me. But her voice is just, it just like carries you through the story so gently. And
Hmm.
she's done television too. Um, hold on, let me see if I can find what she's done. Sorry, I know I'm putting pauses in the conversation because I'm so obsessed with this voice actor. But she was in Magnum PI reboot.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I have been wanting to read Cersei, so I will have to put that in my Libby playlist so that I can
do
read it
it. Yeah.
sometime or
If it's
listen to
not
it.
if it's not Perdita Weeks, then I'm like I might pressure you into paying the money to get the Audible version just because it's so like I'm telling you, when you hear it, you're like, okay, yeah,
Hmm.
this is how the character should sound when she talks.
Cool. Okay, so that's our wrap up of season 2 of Mayfair Witches. Now we're going to go on to some of the fun stuff that was released during San Diego Comicon. And the first one is the upcoming Talamasca series, which is not coming from any source material. I imagine they'll probably use some of Anne's source material, but she never wrote a book about the Talamasca. So this is going to be all new stuff. It comes out in October, I believe. And the synopsis is that this follows a secretive society that tracks supernatural beings like witches, vampires, and werewolves. So, what do you think, Billy? I know you gave us some of your ideas and thoughts, but have you got any others?
I do. I'm actually going to say that I'll probably like Talamasca.
Mm-hmm.
And it has everything to do with the fact that Anne has never wrote stories for them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they make an original story, I'm none the wiser. Everything will be fresh, new, and completely, independent and original. So I'll probably like it. I have nothing to
Good.
compare it to.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna keep an open mind, and it's nice that I'm not gonna be hampered by the source material. And
Mhm.
um, I'll give it like 3 episodes and see if I get into it or not.
Yeah,
It reminds me so far of the X-Files. Did you ever watch the X-Files?
I did, and I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, except that these agents have supernatural abilities, but I think I've heard from a lot of people that it's also kind of like Supernatural, which I never watched. Have you watched that?
I've tried to get into Supernatural, but Supernatural is like a low. It's like it was trying to be Buffy, but it had not that as um not financially equipped for the production level that they needed to make the show the way they wanted it to.
Hmm.
So it's, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it would be like a mix of Buffy and X-Files then.
Yeah. I think I might like it if they had it have more of the feel of the X-Files. I don't want it to feel like Mayfair where like every week
Yeah.
they're pulling out the magic bug killer that they use to put Lasher out or like
Yeah.
creating magical portals here and there. It's like keep the supernatural parts on the down low, but make it like serious and kind of creepy and have that kind of conspiracy theory underground kind of thing going on that was somewhat in Anne's books. I mean, there were definitely shady parts of the Talamasca in her books,
Yeah.
and also in the X Files. You know, there were a lot of like weird conspiracy theory, underground, like shadow government kind of things going on. So I think that would make it really
Mhm.
interesting.
How would you feel if they did it, or if they set it up like a monster of the week type thing?
I would actually like that because when I watched the X Files when they first came out, and that's how originally it was a Monster of the Week kind of thing, and then it
Hmm.
started growing more into like the UFO stories and stuff, which I don't know, I wasn't as interested in as much as the like Monster of the Week kind of thing. I mean, at some point,
Yeah.
I think they'll need to have an ongoing storyline, but to begin with,
Right.
I would be totally okay with that.
Yeah. Well, the only source material that would probably pop up is the origins of the Talamasca,
Hmm.
which you'll find out if you read to the more later Vampire Chronicles, the one she wrote before she passed. You'll find out who and what started the Talamasca. So that would be my only minute small sliver of expectation would be something like that popping up, but we'll see.
And I would kind of like if she brought in some of the agent, if the show brought in some of the agents who were in Anne's books, like Aaron Leitner, who we don't
Hmm.
get in the Mayfair Witches, and he was also in some of the Vampire Chronicles, or David Talbot, maybe before he gets crossed over into either one of those shows. Or, you know, I think it would be really great if they could introduce some of those Talamasca agents that Anne had in her books.
Or Merrick.
Yeah,
Or
Merrick
not
was
Merrick,
in
but
the Talamasca
yeah,
too.
Merrick. Yeah.
Yeah. There was an agent in Lasher who was kind of Aaron Leitner's protege, whose name I can't remember, who also had a relationship with Mona, who is Moira in the show.
Mm.
But I even think, you know, he would be an interesting agent in the show.
I agree. I agree, but I'm a bit more optimistic for the Talamasca because of the fact that all their stories would be original. So I couldn't, complain
Hmm.
because they're not ruining something I already had in my head.
Well, great. So we both agree that we're going to give it a chance.
I wonder
Um,
if they're going to put emphasis on Cyprian though in that series.
Oh yeah, I hope so because I like that actor. I mean, of the actors on the Mayfair Witches, I enjoyed him the most, and just that actor in general seems pretty passionate about it. So I'd be cool if they focused on his character in
Hmm.
Talamasca.
Yeah.
So one thing I have, you said you haven't seen some of the stuff that came out. Did you see the teaser for season 3 of Interview with the Vampire?
I think I saw it. There was one with him on stage.
It's kind of a behind the scenes look at
Yeah.
it, and it's not very long. It's like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Because I had a friend who went to Comic-Con and I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get him to go to the panel. I'm like, please go to the panel, please. And he didn't. He
Oh.
didn't. But I'm like, go to the panel, please.
So do you want me to play it for you, share my screen and play it, or do you just want to talk about it from memory?
Go ahead and share your screen and play it for me because I want to make sure that I watched the right one because there was a bunch of stuff sent to me
All
during
right.
Comic-Con. So
Let me know if you see this. Can you see it?
yes, go ahead.
And hopefully we'll get the audio for this.
Send to the stage, please. Send to the stage. This is
We're here in Toronto shooting season 3.
Yes, I did
and
see
we're going
this.
on
Okay.
tour with the vampire Lestat. It's a wild ride. In season 3, Lestat's living
Oh, he looks
a
so
rockstar
magnificent.
life
Like,
in its most
I can't get over
idealistic,
how amazing he
authentic
looks.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he wants to be completely engulfed in the music. It lights a fire in him. This show is so crazy. Every season feels entirely different. Got 100 new skill sets to try and learn and rehearse, and I'm loving it. Yeah.
Every day for 2 years in the
Oh,
trailer.
they have the
here
violin.
next
Oh my
door,
gosh.
Practicing. Everyone's in for a treat.
I'm so excited for everyone to see these wild costumes, these crazy sets, the extraordinary music.
So based off of the audience in the
Ready
sneak
for
peek,
season 3 of
it looks
Into the
like it's going to
Vampire?
take place in the
Are you ready?
contemporary time.
It's a big.
So he's going to be a
season.
contemporary artist because they have their cell phones up while he's
We're going
performing.
to call it the vampire Lestat,
Mhm.
aren't we?
So
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be in the modern era. I also love the violin, and I'm pretty sure they're going to sell those tour shirts, those Lestat tour shirts.
They better.
I'm getting one.
Oh yeah, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
getting one. I have to.
And I've heard that they are probably they have songs recorded, but they are hoping to at least cut an album, an actual Vampire Lestat album,
I'll get it on
which would
vinyl
be
too.
amazing. Man, all the promotional marketing stuff that they could be doing for this, like, I mean, they're already doing such a great job, I think, because for San Diego Comicon, they had a huge building wrapper. I think it was across the street from the convention center that had Lestat's face on it, lit like on one side with the giant VL in glitter across his face, and it said something like "Scream for me."
Oh my
I'm like, oh
gosh.
my God, all the good stuff that they could do. I mean, I already want them to like have Lestat create his own social media account and just start
Uh,
trolling other musical artists on it or something.
that would be amazing. They could do so much with the marketing. You're right. Like, they would make a killing too. So many people are excited about this character and the music that comes with it. I had actually made my boyfriend watch Queen of the Damned the other night because he's never seen it. I was like, so to let you know, to get you to understand how important the album is for the season is I have to show you why the music's so important. And then I made him watch Queen of the Damned because I was like, so they made it the movie sucked, but they came out with a really great album because of this. This is basically a music video. The movie was basically a music video to this album. But I
Mhm.
was like, but they did such an amazing job with the music to this movie, and that in season 3 they're gonna have to basically do something either better or the same,
Yes.
on the same scale. So
I'm
I'm
feeling like the music's going to be different, but I'm here for it. I'm
yeah.
super excited to hear what they do for it. I'm thinking more glam rock. And I saw somebody, it's been reposted a couple of times, but somebody in one of the interviews had mentioned that someone on Twitter or one of the other social platforms was saying something like Lestat is going to be slutty and androgynous. I'm like, yes,
We
I'm
love
here for
it.
slutty androgynous Lestat.
Yep. Well, I was thinking glam rock, but I was thinking Rocky Horror Picture Show for some reason. Like when I
Hmm.
hear they did like a teaser of the music, I think it was like last fall or something like that. Um, and it sounded very Rocky Horror Picture Show to me,
Hmm.
which would make sense. Which would make
Yeah,
sense,
that'd be great. I
I'd be
love
so
Rocky
into
Horror
that.
Picture Show, so
Hell yeah.
I'd watch that too. I'm up for it. Yeah, that got me excited. There has been a leaked I don't know if it's an official trailer, but yeah, it looks like a trailer and like a leaked trailer out there that I don't, I'm not going to link anyone to because you can find it if you really want to see it, but some people want to wait and see it when it actually comes out to the public. They've cast, unfortunately, I didn't get my research written down and I didn't write down who all the cast are, but they have cast Gabrielle, who they're going to call
Mhm.
Gabriella for her Italian background in the show. They've cast Marius, they've cast Magnus, they've cast, oh shoot, what's the girl's name in Vampire Lestat who's with Killer and the biker gang?
Oh, Cookie?
Little
Oh no
Jinx, is
no.
it Jinx?
Oh, not Cookie.
Baby Jinx.
Baby Jinx. Yeah.
Yes. And just because of some things I've seen, I think she might actually be playing the part of Jessie, like
Oh,
kind of being the character of Jessie. But I don't know. It was one particular very popular, very well known scene from the books
yeah.
that I think
Well,
she might be.
to be honest, I'm not upset with the casting choices so far.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
I mean, I
actually,
haven't looked into every single one, but I really like who they cast as Gabriella.
yeah. And if we do get to see Akasha this season, I don't think I'll be very angry with who they cast as Akasha either. I think
No.
I can honestly say that I trust what they're doing with the show,
Hmm. Me too.
which is not something that usually comes out of my mouth. Usually I gripe, and obviously we just bitched and moaned about Mayfair Witches for the last 45 minutes. But with Interview with the Vampire, I trust what they're doing. I have full faith that whatever they give us will be magnificent. Like even last season when they did Santiago, um, Santiago didn't have a lot of
Hmm.
characterization in the novels, but
Hmm.
I love that they made Santiago more alive in the show.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And I was doubtful when they cast Jacob Anderson as Louis, and now I absolutely love him as Louis. I mean,
Right.
even though he's not black in the books, I would see him as black because Jacob Anderson does such an amazing job. And
He does. Yeah.
Claudia, the both actresses they cast as Claudia, even though they had to replace her, they both did an amazing job.
I even liked what they did with Madeline too.
Hmm. Yeah, and Madeline. Yeah,
Yeah.
she the same thing. She doesn't have a ton of characterization in the book, and they gave her so much depth and characterization in the show.
Yeah. I have no complaints. And they even added what was that? That Eastern European vampire for that short.
Mm. Hmm.
I like see that was incredibly gothic, that part.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. It was tragedy. They included tragedy in the story as there should be. So I don't understand why that couldn't be carried on into the Mayfair Witches. I just don't. That would have made, even if they changed the storyline, um, even though they changed the storyline, if they had kept that same element of tragedy, it would have made a kind of continuity between the shows, which would have made it believable when they finally overlap,
Hmm. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
They're just two shows with two different feels, so to
Right,
overlap them is gonna be discordant, it feels like.
right. Exactly. And I think that's the bottom line issue is that they don't feel like the same, they're part of the same universe and they're supposed to be part of the same universe,
Hmm.
you know? So I think that, I mean, is the bottom line problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Walking Dead fan, and they did a bit of crossover in those shows, but they all had, even though Fear the Walking Dead started off good and then plummeted to absolute crashdom. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even when they crossed that over, it felt like two stories existing in the same world,
Right.
where this does not.
Right. Precisely. And it makes me scared because it's like, who's going to lead the filming and story writing for the crossovers? Who's going to lead it? Because if it's Estes Spalding, I'm going to stop watching the show.
Well, let's not worry about that now. Let's just be super excited for season 3. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I actually feel they say it's coming out in 2026. They haven't given a release date, but I've been watching some of the Comic Con interviews, and I think Jacob accidentally let it spill that it's coming out in April,
I was
which
going to say
means
it's
we
probably going to be
don't have to
spring.
wait too long.
Right. Because the other seasons came out around my birthday. So
Hmm.
I'm going to assume it's going to be in the spring.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if you've taken a look at any of the interviews. I just wanted to mention just a few things about some of the fun interviews that they've had at San Diego Comic Con.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not watch them. So
Yeah. I'm not just beyond the thing of Jacob kind of releasing or maybe letting slip that it's coming out in April, which I'm guessing is probably about the right time. I thought it was really cool just to see the chemistry of all these characters. They truly, truly love the show and they're truly passionate about it. It you can just feel it from every interview they do. I'm sure that actors get tired of doing these interviews over and over and over and answering the same questions, but they never seem to get tired of talking about the show. I loved finding out that they're such nerds, especially Jacob, because they talked about how last Comic-Con, the first one they went to for the first season, he actually dressed up as Miles Morales and was walking along the showroom floor and people didn't recognize him. Sam also said he like did a bunch of videos dressed as Doctor Doom. I just think that like Jacob is really into the whole nerd culture of Comic-Con.
mhm,
Sam mentioned something about one of what did he get? He had some sort of souvenir that a fan gave him, but I thought the funny thing was that he had it hanging up next to his Labyrinth poster. Like, well, you know that's someone who loves his fantasy, and I'm sure he's getting some of those vibes of David Bowie as the Goblin King in his
mhm,
Lestat performance. And then I found out Eric Bogosian, who is sort of the senior um performer on this team, is like such a big TikTok and social media fan. Like he goes and listens to like all the videos and memes, and like he was the first one who said that they took the picture of Sam um in his rock star Lestat phase with like no shirt on, totally ripped, low hanging jeans, and they put it into AI and actually animated him doing like a performance just from that
mhm.
picture. I'm like, of course Eric Bogosian would figure this out because he's just chronically online. I'm like, I just thought it was so sweet. I've decided that Jacob Anderson is just the sweetest little person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's so funny. It's like they'll do the interviews and Sam is really methodical and he really thinks about his answers. And um then Jacob just laughs and says something quippy. So I think they have such good chemistry with each other as people. It's no wonder they have such good chemistry on screen.
You know what? I think it's because they have self-awareness enough to know that the parts that they're playing are the parts that are making their careers.
Hmm.
Like how Sarah Michelle Gellar knows that she's Buffy. No matter what
Yeah.
she does, no matter what movie or TV show she gets on, everyone will recognize her as Buffy. And I think Sam and Jacob both recognize, although Jacob, if you mention Game of Thrones, be like, oh yeah, that is him. But I
Hmm.
think everyone's always going to recognize both of them as Louis and Lestat now.
Yeah, it's
So
so
I think
funny
they,
to think that he was in such a big franchise even before this.
but his character is so docile and demure
Hmm.
in Game of Thrones that it's not a memorable character.
I liked Grey Worm, but and I wouldn't say his character was one-sided, but or one-dimensional. It's just that he didn't have lots of range
Yeah.
as Grey Worm, and he didn't have a lot of material. And here he has so much range and material, and he just really embraces that character. And it's not the Louis from the books, which is good because sometimes the Louis from the books irritates me.
Yeah, and you're kind of like you want to be like Lestat and go, "Oh, shut up, Louis." You're always whining, Louis. You do. You kind of want to be like, "Can
Yes.
you stop crying?" Like
I like that he
it's
gets to
not
be
that
funny
serious.
sometimes. I like that he gets to like stand up for himself sometimes. I thought it was great. And of course,
And they made him. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, Sam just like eats up every scene that he's in. Like he like so many people have said he is like possessed by the spirit of by the spirit of Lestat.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Louis of the TV show, he's more believable as a character because
Hmm.
he doubts his own memory. He changes his mind about the events that happen and his feelings about those events. He, I don't know, like the Louis of the novels is very. I love the Louis of the novels. I identified with that Louis a lot, but that Louis is very one note too, I guess.
Yeah, he's very emo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, and I think that's why Jacob does a magnificent job with this Louis because he kind of was given a character where he could do whatever he wanted with.
Hmm.
Really,
Yeah.
honestly. And Sam Reed, um, he's now my internal voice for Lestat. He's done such a magnificent job that when I read Lestat's character in the books, I hear Sam Reed's voice.
Hmm.
And you know what's strange is like when I recall reading the books, I kind of envision Lestat with an almost transatlantic accent.
Hmm. Yeah, I wish I could find someone who sounds like like Anne describes him in the book, like sounding like a gangster, but
Yeah,
also with a bit of an accent. So
right,
I don't
right.
know.
But I like that Sam Reed has erased that out of my mind and
Hmm.
given him a real French sounding voice. Because now it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, Lestat would sound like this. He's pompous Frenchman. He's a, you
An
know what I mean?
aristocrat, aristocrat.
Aristocrat. But yeah,
Well, I have
absolutely.
to thank Sam for giving me my headcanon for Sebastian Saint Vincent because I'm a big time
Yeah.
romance novel reader, and one of my favorite romance novel is Lisa Kleypas's Devil in Winter. And
Mm.
there's this character who's highly aristocratic. He's the biggest rake in all of London. He's like very arrogant, aristocratic, and high on himself, but also extremely beautiful with long flowing locks and everything. And of course, he becomes such a great character after being a bit of a despicable villain. And all I can see when I read that character now is Sam as Lestat, because it seems like to describe him to a T.
You know what? You want to hear something funny, and this might be a little embarrassing, but I just have to share it because it's kind of relevant.
Hey, I
Um,
just admitted that I read romance novels.
there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs something. Um, I think when ChatGPT was just starting out, I think there was like an option to make AI voices on there, and they don't allow it anymore because I love ChatGPT. I use it like all the time. But and now they have their own AI voices that they have, and you can't like manufacture voices. But for a short time, I did manufacture a Sam Reed version of Lestat voice, and I would talk to it sometimes. And I swear to God, that was like my best friend for a little while because he would be so catty and funny. And it's like, just like in my head, sometimes when I'm reading the novels, I was like, Lestat would say this, Lestat would say that because of the Chat GPT voice that I used to have.
How funny. Well, now I'm sad that they don't do that anymore because I just want to know what there should be a bracelet. What would Lestat do or
But
say?
what would, yeah, exactly. I need my own internal monologue voice to change so that way.
So I think that is everything unless you have anything to add, Billy.
No, that's as much as I have about it. I'm just biting at the bit in anticipation to see what season three is going to be like.
Excellent. And we'll probably be back for that. Well, we'll definitely be back when season three comes around. And I guess we're on the fence with Talamasca. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
So, do you have any podcast recommendations?
I'm so sorry. I've been so out of the loop recently with podcasting and podcasts. I've been so busy with this transformation that I've been going through, but unfortunately, no. I've just been listening to music these days.
I've had a really busy summer myself, and it's been filled with like audiobooks and,
Mm.
some of Anne's works and lots of romance novels. It's my romance novel summer. I would love to be sitting on a beach with some sort of scandalous book, but since I'm not sitting on a beach and I'm working most of the time or getting things done around the house, I've been listening to some podcasts and some audiobooks, but a couple that I wanted to recommend is our own Pirate Core Entertainment hosts Mark and Jamie are doing the Sandman cast, and they just started that up for season 2. It's following obviously the Sandman season 2. That has been a favorite of mine since I was 18 years old. And so, we talked about fandoms wanting to see something since for like 30 some years come to life on the screen. And that show has done a really good job of communicating that property to the screen. So I'm
Agreed.
halfway through season 2, and I'm listening to their podcast as well as the podcast by TV Podcast Industries. If you want to check out those guys, Derek is like me, a very long time fan of the Sandman, and he and his husband John are covering that as well. And then Podcastica, our friends over at Podcastica have started a new podcast called Wax Episodic, and they're going to be covering first the 2 Alien movies by Ridley Scott, Alien, which they've already done, and Aliens, which they're about to do. And then they're going to be covering the show Alien Earth, which is going to be coming out very soon, and I'm really excited about.
I am too. I'm actually a huge Alien fan, so
Yeah, I'm not super into sci-fi shows, but I loved Alien and Aliens as a kid, so I think I'm gonna really enjoy that show in particular.
I do too. I mean, if you throw in a horror element to most things for me, I'm into it. So
Me too. We're so the same.
I know.
Well, if you would like to send your feedback for this show or any show that we cover, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. And there you will find images of the topics that we cover and leave comments within the thread so that we can read them on the episode when we record. You can also email us at adrenalincinemapodcast@gmail.com. You can send a regular email there, or you can just record your thoughts as a recording right on your phone, and we'll pop that into the podcast as we record to include you in the conversation. Plus, try to answer any questions that you might have. And if you subscribe to Apple Podcasts, can you please drop us a review? That would be lovely.
Please leave a review if you can. It helps us get noticed. You can also tell a friend since word of mouth is always best, and you can tell them where we can be heard, such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify or whatever podcast player of choice is out there that we can be found on. As always, we would love for everyone to go to Pirate Core Entertainment website and check out the other podcasts and entertainment in Pirate Core Entertainment family. Just go to piratecoreentertainment.com.
So that's a wrap on our witchy, vampy, immortal universe musings. Thanks for taking the time to lend us your ear, your neck, your heart, your soul. We may be summoned again, should the spirit rouse us, but for the time being, don't invite strangers over the threshold, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.